and welcome to Fiber Trek. My name is Sarah. Welcome. You are most welcome to my studio space here in the North Woods of Maine. On this edition, I'm excited to showcase for you a couple books off my shelf that have been inspiring me lately. As you saw in the beginning, there is some weaving happening, and I can't wait to fill you in on the adventures there. I will definitely update you on my knitting. Thank you to all who show up here, like, subscribe, and comment, and a deep, heartfelt thank you for those that contribute financially through Patreon. I'm so glad you're here. Let's catch up.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow only golden, 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 golden things. Mountain laurel high fives for miles in spring. Rainbow trout and a hummingbird wing. Golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things. Gold hair, gold rings, gold leaves, gold anything, golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things.
So I was so thankful that my dear friend Patty has come up 2 times to help me with this loom project. You might remember a year ago in August, Patty came up and we planned and began to warp the project for this 4 shaft Leclerc floor loom. And we got to the point where we had slayed the reed and we needed to thread the heddles, and that's where it sat for a year. I found this project to be intimidating to move forward on. It was a little bit like I didn't have a check. It was hard to figure out how to fix mistakes. What if I did this? And so again, Patty came up. This time she stayed for 2 nights, which was fantastic, and we got the whole thing done and started weaving. So it is warped with some cotton rug warp. Again, vocabulary escapes me. This is all very experimental. And I am using to weave some wool I got back from a mill in Maine that I was not happy with. This is my own Icelandic wool fiber, and it was spun into a lopi, but it's really too dense to knit with comfortably, and I'm not liking the fabric that comes out. You might remember I knit a pillow cover out of it, so I thought this would be a perfect application, and I am using it to weave on the loom. It's going to be an interesting fabric. It will be a lightweight rug, something you might use under a coffee table or perhaps by your bedside, or it can be cut up, I would expect, into fabric to be used for cushion covers and other type of home goods. So I'm happy with what's turning out on the loom. I have raided the stash and grabbed some scraps of other things to add a bit of color and experiment with. I recognize that watching me weave is going to be an awkward experience for some of you that are adept at this type of art form. And as an experimenter, I really just want to play around and sample as much as possible. What does it feel like? How much pressure do I need when I beat? How much tension? So this is, again, for me, just a beginning discovery phase. It's not a technical phase, and I don't want to pass myself off as anything other than a dabbler at the moment. The synergy of this really came together. Rob and I had been toying, get rid of it, keep it, get rid of it, keep it. And I think when this yarn came back and I was like, what am I going to do with all of that? That's when this loom really took on its purpose. And so we made room in the house, and it sits in a convenient spot so you can sit down and just get some work done and walk away. And it's been wonderful to think and see, wonderful to think about, and also see this yarn moving out of the stash. So a project well worth the wait. I've had this loom for a long time, and I have had it warped. I did it myself before, and Rob and I have woven on it, but it's been about 14 years. I am already planning my next project as is usual, but this warp is pretty long. It's enough to do about 3 rugs. I don't have all the specifics. I'm still learning the vocabulary, how to plan, the mathematics that goes into that. And again, like I said, this is really offering up a sampler opportunity. But Patty and I were talking about being able to just tie on. So my hope is that next time I can just tie on to this warp, thread it through, and, you know, tension it. And my hope is to use a wool warp and a wool weft. So already thoughts for the future. I'm really enjoying the process, sitting down and moving through a vast amount of material in one sitting. So one of the things that I did purchase when I began this endeavor, per a recommendation from Patty and a couple other friends, was the Hand Weaver's Pattern Directory by Ann Dixon. This has a number of different drafts and directions on how to calculate your warp, but not only how to do some of that more fundamental stuff, but different types of woven patterns, what they'll look like, the tie-up, the draft, how to warp it, what it will look like in different colors. So the visual piece of this is really helpful if you are interested in fabric at all or getting into weaving. I have woven on rigid heddle and an inkle loom using card weaving. Those I find much more intuitive and manageable. There tend to be smaller projects for me because I was limited by the size of my rigid heddle loom, and I found more resources for managing warping it, as well as the inkle loom on YouTube. But for some of these pieces, I accessed Long Thread Media, which has quite a few tutorials and classes that are digital, and you can download them. But in the meantime, here I am. I've got some of the project going. I've added, as I said, some color. And so as soon as this is done, I think I may have mentioned, I think Rob is going to try his hand at weaving a rug. So we're kind of keeping it our own signature style for each rug, so that tension doesn't shift, or the fabric doesn't have a noticeable huge difference of the weaver's technique. So maybe we'll get him to join us on the episode. Right, I am off to romp with Ruby, always an important part of my day. So we'll see what happens with this project, and we'll definitely keep you updated. I wanted to introduce you to, or remind you, if you've been with me for a while, of a couple of books that have been surfacing and I've been using to reinvigorate or encourage a sketchbook practice. This is Creative Folk Art and Beyond, which is a compilation of artists and different illustrators. And the other book is Imagine a Forest by Dinara Miratilipiova. I think I did my best on that. So both of these books are inspirational, although they do have instructional projects and different creative prompts. So you get kind of a number of different entry points into the books. In Creative Folk Art and Beyond, like I said, one of the things I like about this book is different creative entry points. So there is the supplies list and what you need, but there's also in each section, which is a different artist, a variety of different types of creative exercises and creative prompts. So if you don't want to draw your own type of patterns, then you can simply use the ones that are provided for you in the book to decorate and practice different color stories or different decorative doodling elements. In this case, this is a garland you can put together, but again, you could take this project, obviously, and run with it where you want it to go. I like that there are opportunities to look at symmetry and different color stories. And again, this isn't necessarily instructive as much as it is inspiring. And I think I mentioned I do love botanicals, and both of these books, as you'll see, have lots of opportunity to fool around with different botanical compositions. Imagine a Forest has a little different feel. There are suggested project opportunities in the back. It's not as technique-based as the other book, but the pictures are so beautiful. It's just lovely to sit down and look at it with a cup of tea. I always love seeing different supply lists in different books and being able to fool around with different color stories and mediums and how they're used. And again, if you're attracted to embroidery or any type of surface design, these types of books can be really inspiring. Her book is broken down into themes. As I said, there are some instructional points. And so you have cats and fairy tales, mythical creatures. It's really an opportunity to look at how things come together, not necessarily be instructed, but how you can use form and decoration, folk art, illustration, etc. So I really love the lettering portion of this book and the different ways to decorate letters. Overall, it is just a feast for the eyes. I hope you found this helpful. I do like to see books before I purchase them. I like people who review them and offer some insight, and these two are by far and away two of my favorite and that I return to time and time again. welcome to the knitting portion. I'm like, is my knitting here? Hello and welcome to the knitting portion of the episode. I just want to reiterate how thankful I am that you come and join me, whether you are new or returning, and invest a little time. And for some of you, money in this creative journey. I am deeply grateful. For those that are interested in supporting me financially, I have set up a Patreon account, and you can go and enjoy a bonus video each month of some of the behind the scenes and other things that I'm making. I have also gone ahead and set up a Ko-Fi or a Ko-fi account if you want to contribute one time. All of this money goes to the production fees, administrative fees such as the website, equipment, travel, and also compensating me for my time that I put into putting all of this together. So anything is appreciated, whether that's a comment, a subscribe, a like, or an actual financial contribution. Thank you so much. What have I been up to? Well, I have been deeply enjoying the quick completion of crochet squares, and I have gone ahead and continued to go through my stash and find different scraps and bits and pieces, and I have quite a few completed. I talk a little bit more over on the Patreon blog this month on what I'm doing with them, what my plans are, but yeah, I have really enjoyed this as an after work kind of come home, eat my dinner, complete something, and enjoy all these little different bits and pieces. So I think I have about, I don't know, 15 of these finished, and you can see that I'm doing them kind of in light gray and dark gray finishes, and I need to figure out how they're going to come together. So you can, if you're interested in learning more about this process, you can subscribe over on Patreon. I also went ahead and I did complete the hyphen sweater by Frogginette Designs or Lisa Chemery. This is for my niece Annie, and I blocked it real gently. I just got it wet. I just wanted it to bloom a little bit. And so I knit the 18-month size. This is Manchalope and their pink colorway. I don't know the name of the color. I purchased this from Tribe Yarns, which is in Britain, and it worked beautifully. So that will be going to her. It is a little bit big. I think she might be just 7 months, 8 months maybe, and this is the 18-month size, but the babies tend to be a bit rugged, and so I wanted her to have plenty of wear time, and her birthday is in February, so I think it might be January 31st or February 1st. It's like right in there. So she'll have this right through a good chunk of our cold months here in the state of Maine. So that is going to be going off to her this week. And the other bits and pieces, because I've been focusing so much on crochet, I did put a dent into the Frokengard. This is knit on a US 3. This is from the Koftaboken books. And I've been, as my friend Sue reminded me, we've been knitting on this since right around December of 2020. So let's go and shoot for a 3-year finish, December 31st, 2023. I am just about this far on the sleeve since I picked up, and this is a pretty easy, as I have said before, memorizable chart. So I can motor on this, and if I could just steal away from some of the crocheted granny squares, I bet I could get this finished, and so that's what I'm going to do. So my focus for the next few weeks will be strictly on this Frokengard sweater. Hillesvåg Norwegian yarn knit. This is the Solia base and the Vilja base, the Solia in the cognac and the Vilja in the white. And here's hoping I can get that done, as I said, before the new year. I know a lot of you are like, I can have that done in a week. I probably could if I put my mind to it, but I am torn in a couple creative journeys. Cameron is also interested in a sweater. He is my nephew. I knit him the Dog Star by Tin Can Knits in Plotolopi last year. He is super knit worthy, and so I am compelled to cast something on for him. But the sleeve before the new year. I also put a couple rows on my Litla, oh, the name escapes me, but luckily I have it right here because I do need to reference the chart. This is the book Folk Shawls by Cheryl Oberly. I'm just going to look at the publication date for fun. Let's see, text copyright 2000. My gosh, 23 years. So I picked the Litla diamond shawl. It's not going to be little. This is a typical Faroese shawl in construction, and I am using Nutiden from Honor Ak Air, and this is a natural colorway. I can't remember the name, that I purchased from an update from them. And I have finished this triangular kind of pattern, lace pattern. Words escaped me for a minute. And I'm getting ready to go on to the next version within the border pattern. This is going to be massive. I had thoughts of abandoning this weekend because I was like, oh, so much knitting and so big, and I don't know. I wasn't feeling overly excited about it, and so I was texting with my friend who's also knitted in Nutiden, and she was like, well, you know, the end product is really stunning, like super cozy, super huge. And she also reiterated to me that as I knit, it's going to get smaller. So I have to finish this border pattern and then it will begin its decrease up to the shoulders. So I've decided to stick with it. I put a couple more rows in. As you heard me talk, I am going to be putting some significant dedication into the Frokengard. But this just kind of every once in a while, usually in the mornings, I'll put 2 rows into it, a chart row and then a rest row. The return row, it's all done in garter. So the return row is just knitting. So you don't really have to think about counting or charting that lace. And so, yeah, so that's just kind of subtly evolving in the wings with me. Let's see, I think that is probably it for what I have been working on. A couple of you in the comments, I do read all the comments. I haven't had a chance to respond. I do try to minimize my kind of computer time sometimes in the evenings because I am on the computer quite a bit, not only editing but then at work, and so I do read them as they come in because it's so convenient. They come in as an email, and so I can read it on my phone. But somebody had asked about my amber beads, and I purchased these on Etsy, and I can't remember the name of the shop. It was so long ago, but I find that that's a really nice, Etsy is a really easy way to access some of the Baltic amber. I think that this was a Latvian jeweler, so you can just Google amber beads and there will be a whole host of items to choose from pendants to actual just raw chunks, etc. So I have found this on Etsy. I'm wearing the Zora. This is from the Best of Lopi. I finished this past summer, I think, or spring, and it is knit in Alphas Lopi, the bulky set. And yeah, so it is that kind of day here. I am spending some time getting the vlog ready for Patreon. I have a bunch of items I want to do in the studio today. There is obviously the Ruby romp that has to happen, and then there's putting all of this together. So who knows what November will bring. You saw the weaving that had been happening. I am visiting a couple different places for some fiber trekking. So we'll see how November unfolds, especially heading into the dark months. I am thinking about the turning of the year and any ideas that come my way if I'm gonna continue to do turning of the year. I don't know if that's something of interest to you. It is where I actually podcast every week, and I kind of try to highlight a different skill each week leading up to the end of December and the beginning of the new year in January. On that note, I'm gonna bid you a fond farewell. I hope that wherever you are, this finds you in a space to enjoy some simple moments of friends, family, handwork, place. I am offering many fond wishes and blessings. I will see you next time. Bye.